Hi, Serena.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Robert. How you doing?
Very good,
We're
thanks.
very, very well.
It's so good to see you guys back. And can I just say, I was so excited by your date reveal video that you guys released. But I was just wondering, Tom, before this, you weren't really a dancer. And Rob, you've said that, I'm not so sure about the random dancing throughout the series. So when they say to you, you're in isolation, now we want you to film dancing on your own. How are you feeling about that?
My wife was way more excited about filming me than I was doing it. She was laughing her head off behind the camera. We all actually got quite specific moves that they wanted as well. But apart from that, yeah, I mean, we had to put my kids to bed before I could do it because otherwise there were my kids running around the house. So we had to put the kids to bed and then blast out, I Think You're Alone Now, at like 10 o'clock at night. It was great fun.
Nice, yeah. Thankfully I had a pal who's a videographer, and I swear to God, just by sheer, and plus I was a bit tardy to the party. I was late delivering my homework.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, you were the last one in, I think, weren't you?
Yeah, and I had slightly anxious Steve texted me, but I thankfully had a friend of mine around who has been a videographer for many years. So I quickly went to them. I went, quickly, just film this, and I just sort of just reenacted it as best I could. So
yours was great. I mean, you literally got some of the shots that you got in the actual show.
Yeah,
when you're like looking up at the camera, so I was like, oh my god, he went to town.
Yeah, sweeping all the stuff off my kitchen.
Yeah,
laying there all melodramatic. Any excuse, Marina, any excuse.
Well, I'm loving that season 2 is coming back at the end of this month. And Tom, you've said you're so excited about it. Why? And why should we be excited?
I just think that it's got so much more to offer this year. You know, I think what I love about season 1 is that it's set up these characters, it's set up these relationships. We set up like the challenges that these guys have. And then now we're throwing them into a whole new world where they're going to be challenged even further and taken on events in history, really, which is the really interesting part for me, and how they're going to screw it up in their own unique way.
How are you guys finding the fan reaction? Because, season 1, no one knew what it was about, and then it dropped on Netflix, and it was everywhere. People loved it. Tom Hopper's arms appeared on Instagram. Like, how do you react when stuff like that is happening?
Oh,
I with a rather large pinch of salt, really. It's that sort of thing. It's great. One thing is amazing is that reaction. Because you work so hard for so many months to try and make this thing as good as it could possibly be, and the scripts were so good. And also the comics were so good that you feel a great sense of responsibility to not screw it up. So we all worked incredibly hard to make sure that didn't happen. So it was kind of an element of just sitting back and enjoying people connecting with these characters and stuff, right, Rob? I think that was what was so nice about it. We did the hard work, and then we watched people enjoy it, which is always the best payoff.
Do you know what I love? You mentioned the word connecting there, Tom, and I love that you guys have connected with each other offset as well. Robert, you and Tom have a new podcast coming out. Tell me about the Earth Locker, and how did all of this come about?
Well, it came about from many chats in parks in Toronto and overtraining and stuff, and we were sort of we were very, very interested in sort of food and health and kind of what's being fed to us in the mainstream versus what technologies and stuff are revealing more and more to be a more sort of optimal way of living. What's people's relationship to food and their own bodies and stuff. And I think that's kind of how the Earth Locker has evolved, isn't it, Tom? It's sort of started out with some of these incredibly compelling conversations. We went, ooh, right, to get clarity on that sort of satellite subject and get clarity on that satellite subject. And it's just it's kind of grown from the first episodes being chats about gut health and the technology of the microbiome and all that stuff. So it's very, very, very different fare to what we're known for, but it's just been so profoundly. And I find myself now, Tom, I don't know about you, in like social situations, regurgitating the stuff that I've podcast going, ooh, look at me, aren't I quite clever? know some dialed in science stuff about.
Yeah, it's what I think the brilliant thing about the Earth Locker that we've discovered as well is that there's so much information out there that is fully available to everyone, but no one knows about it because we're not
Yeah.
exposed to it in the everyday news, you know. So the Earth Locker is going to be a brilliant medium for people to get information
Yeah,
that can change their life, literally, like for the better. That there's information and experts that we're speaking to that is going to these companies are doing that can hugely benefit millions of lives
yeah,
if they just know about it, and we're giving them that.
I love that you say that. And I love that you've said this is all about making us better earthlings. And we
Yeah.
are all going through such a tough time right now. But I think it's always really really important to look for the positives. So what is one positive thing you're going to take about 2020? Because I'm tired of hearing about all the negativity, and I understand the negativity, but I think we need to look back and go, this is a positive thing.
I'd say, you know, don't pathologize adversity too acutely. You know, happiness and sorrow all come in the same parcel. You know,
Mm.
prosperity and adversity is no different. You know, so there's always, I think, unforeseen value in adversity, and unfortunately, it seems kind of counterintuitive. But I'm sort of sometimes, I'm quite, you know, not like, obviously, you know, I sometimes think, broadly speaking, there can be great positives to come out of adverse and trying times, definitely.
Yeah, I think as well, like this kind of situation is made worse because of certain media promoting it in certain ways of it feeling all doom and gloom. And don't get me wrong, there's obviously so many people have died from this thing, but you know, lots of people are dying from various different things all the time. You know, when even in years that coronavirus isn't around, and I think with the impact that media has on this very kind of, like you say, Rob, like an acute situation. I think if it wasn't for media, we can all have a choice to make the best of this time, you know. And I think that's one thing that I certainly for myself and my wife's part, we've really tried to be productive and use the time that we so rarely get as a family to really reconnect, because I'm always traveling. I'm always away, and my wife's always left on her own with the kids. And this has been, in a way, a kind of a gift for us, you know, because we've had so much time to be a four, you know, my wife and my two kids, that we just don't get that time, you know, it's such an intense way. So it's been great for our side of things.
Well, Tom, Robert, thank you so much for putting positivity in the world and for putting ridiculousness, and I mean it in a good way, entertaining us with stuff like the Umbrella Academy. We all need it. Thank you so much.
Here, here.
It's a
Cheers,
pleasure.
Serena. God bless.
Thanks, Serena.